Welcome to the official catch-up. Today I'm joined by Derek. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How's you?
Yeah, doing great. And we've also got Ben Grant on again. How you doing, Ben?
Not bad, Chris. Cheers. How are you?
Yeah, good. Getting there, obviously. I'll let you do the sponsor, Mozza, since you're perfected it.
So, as you'll probably know by now, if you've listened to us for a while, or to anyone brand new, we are fortunate enough to be sponsored by the Soccer Shop Direct. You can find them on Twitter at the Soccer Shop D, and basically they're your go-to place for any football equipment, team wear, balls, anything you need for the game when we get out of this situation. Wherein obviously, I suspect their phone lines will be red hot. So get following them right now and be ready for when the time.
Yeah, I'm glad you do that, mate, because I think that would take me about 1 million takes and we'd never get a podcast out. One of those
things. Experience here, folks.
Yeah, I've tried it a few times. Mozza's got the voice and the words to put that sponsorship together, obviously. And just a note on them, obviously, they're doing a competition at the moment to win some team kits, so definitely check them out on Twitter if you've got a team. So continuing on from last week, Moz, obviously we chatted a wee bit about the Pyramid, the west of Scotland. We touched on a wee bit about the north. What's the news lately, mate?
Right, so to give a kind of very brief overview of where we are right now, we have now just passed the deadline for applications into the West of Scotland League, and there was a total of 68 clubs applied, which is unbelievable. Brilliant numbers for a start. And it's a credit to everyone involved. Not just when we've had the chats before, we've talked about obviously George in the east of Scotland and the south of Scotland initially getting things in motion. But I think equal credit needs to be given to Gordon Roney in the West region of the juniors as well, because all 63 West junior clubs have applied and will join. Bonneton Thistle will move over from the south of Scotland. This is obviously assuming they're all accepted, which we expect. Should just be a kind of shoe in at this point. Glasgow University are coming over, who are licensed, bear in mind, because they play in the Scottish Cup every year. They are currently in the amateur leagues in the Glasgow area, so it's good to see them jump into the Pyramid. And Drumchapel are the other ones. So they're quite an interesting side, quite an ambitious amateur side who have been building towards this opportunity. So it's good to see them as well. I believe they'll be going under Drumchapel United. Will be the senior team's name. There are two other sides that were late applicants, and we're not allowed to say who they are because they've not actually announced it themselves at this point. We'll wait and see if they do in the fullness of time, but one of them has more chance than the other, would be my opinion on it. One of them's reminiscent of BSC, quite an established youth academy all the way through to the likes under 21 level for the under 8s. The other one's more just a senior squad, basically. So it'll all come down to the meeting that's to come in the next week or so to talk about who's getting in and the next steps in terms of getting the season set up, because the West of Scotland, as with the rest of the junior leagues, have had this current season now null and voided. So they're ready to go ahead and start planning for next season, which is probably going to help things get underway nice and smoothly at this stage.
So me and you yourself, Ben, obviously had a wee chat about the West of Scotland and everything going on there. Are we a amount of teams that have wanted to join?
Yeah, I think for me it was quite a surprise to see all the teams coming across. By the looks of it, obviously the junior setup has been kind of advised all the clubs to make that application to the West, which is great. I mean, from a club point of view, from Corinne, we've always been kind of at the forefront of trying to move across, so it's great to see the rest of the clubs coming across. We'll have, again, the chance to have all the kind of rivalries and things like that we have just now in the junior setup. So yeah, it looks like an exciting, certainly interesting time. One thing I would say to Mozza is, he mentioned they're null and void. I think actually we're talking about the season being cancelled, so there's nothing actually been decided on what happens to the league title. So
Okay.
So I think we're still, Corinne as an example, are top of the juniors, or top of the West juniors at the moment as it stands. There's no trophies, there's no prizes or anything like that. It's just the cancellation of the rest of the season. So I think that's still to be decided, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens.
So it'll be a fight behind the scenes between yourselves and Auchinleck, probably.
Well, It's one of those ones. I mean, we've got the points on the board. We're top of the table. That's the facts. Whether or not the season's null and voided, or they work out on average points, like it's apparently been suggested that might happen. Who knows? But as it stands, Cohen top of the West Premiership as it stands. So will certainly be interesting to see what happens in terms of those discussions.
I can see it for next season, Cohen using the Tyson Fury line, a lineal historic junior
Well,
champions.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, the history books will say in 10, 15 years' time that Cohen were top of the West Premiership. I mean, that'll be the facts. That's the facts, mate. There's no argument there around facts.
And it was one of the things we talked about, I think, Ben, when we had that chat, because obviously it would be kind of a carrot to be the last club to win the West Juniors, really, before they move on to the West.
For sure, obviously there'll be one thing to be discussed is around the Scottish Cup, because obviously just now the Junior Scottish Cup winners and the top of the West Premiership go into the Senior Scottish Cup, so it'll depend what happens there. I think if there's a discussion to be had, we're certainly going to be at that table. I think there'll be a case for us to be in that discussion. I don't think there's any way we wouldn't be in that chat, and we'd love to be in the Senior Scottish. We're not licensed, probably, and we won't be licensed for next season, so we won't get in it via the pyramid anyway. So hopefully there's a chat there. We perhaps might end up getting a wee run at Senior Scottish. That would be nice.
It's a really good point, Nat, because they're going to have to sort out the qualifiers for the Big Scottish, and that can be worth a lot of money to clubs as well.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
So fingers crossed we get a wee bit of common sense there, but obviously we'll get into the SPFL and co later on.
Common sense approach there, yeah.
Just before we sort of change our focus into what's happening in the north, we have to give a wee bit of a shout out to Bellshill. What happened this morning? First thing I saw on Twitter this morning, obviously, that there had been a deliberate arson attack on the club, and it doesn't look great. The clubhouse and the facilities there, in complete ruin. We've had experience with this Moza with East of Scotland, and with Vale of Leaving's been vandalised before. It's very sad to see for clubs that do their best to get back.
It's horrendous because, there's loads of clubs in this position, but Bellshill particularly are one that I've had some hard times. I've came back essentially for the dead. They do really good work in the community, and just have a few, what it appears to be is a few idiots that have gone fire raising, and they've absolutely gutted the whole kind of complex with the dressing rooms and so on in it as well. So it's horrendous. I've seen that I think there's a fundraiser already started, a Just Giving fundraiser. So obviously we'd encourage anyone listening that wants to help out to go and check out their Twitter account. They'll have links. But it's just mindless. It's absolutely mindless, especially at this time as well when everyone's meant to be in the same boat. It's horrendous.
Well, I think from our side of things, we've had our buildings in Cowan not as strong a damage certainly as Bellshill. We've had windows smashed, we've had carpets bashed up and ripped up, walls all smashed up in a new building that we're trying to upgrade to make our new clubhouse. So I absolutely feel for Bellshill. The damage it looks like has been done there is possibly unrecoverable. I mean, it looks like roofs have collapsed and stuff like that. So it really looks serious damage. I mean, something like that could probably put a club out of business. I mean, because the cost to repair that, who knows what kind of insurance they have, for example. So who knows if they've actually been able to recover from this, and let's hope they can, because no one wants to see a junior team lost, especially not via damage by some mindless idiots in the streets.
I agree, mate, and you don't really expect it around this sort of time, because people, I mean, who would go outside? I'd probably waste their one time going out just to do a thing like that. It's just outrageous.
It seems a silly thing to do. Why are people even probably gathered together with somebody maybe doing it themselves? And it's probably somebody that isn't going to have been following the rules anyway. Do you know what I mean? Regarding lockdown anyway, and people should just get behind clubs rather than kind of putting barriers in place. That's the thing I always think about when I think about Cowan, and certainly is all these people that get involved in the community rather than just causing distress, I feel like. Yeah,
and we'll move on there. Obviously a bit of a sad note, but if there is a link to, basically the fundraising or whatever, we'll add it to the description or the comments, and obviously We wish the club all the best. Horrible news, especially the sort of current climate. But we'll move on to the sort of north and what's going on there. Myself, I spoke to Alex Marr. We kind of had a big discussion about everything. But I believe you're more, again, probably more in the know about it, Derek.
Yeah, I've had a few chats with guys in the North Caledonian League who I've got a good relationship with through kind of just developing contacts in the Football Manager game ultimately. But where we sit right now, there was a story came out in a couple of local papers up in the north a couple of days ago now that said that the North Super League of the Juniors North region and the North Caledonian League are pretty close to getting an agreement with the Highland League. They'll sit below the Highland. There will be promotion and relegation brought in, and we'll finally get some development in the north of the country in terms of the pyramid as well. You kind of feel like up till this point the barrier has been with the North Super League and the North Juniors because they've not really known where they stand in terms of would they be able to do this under the Junior Association, SGFA. The West region have now proven that clubs can go into the pyramid and still be part of the big Scottish Cup, the Junior Cup. So it gives you that outlet. Teams now see there's an opportunity to have the best of both worlds. So it looks like that's broken an impasse. And from the chats I've had, they're actually pretty confident this could be in place for the start of the new season, which would be a massive, massive turnaround for where we've been. And the good news is the Highlands seem to be very open to it as well. So they're not kind of against the idea of relegation. They're quite open to actually getting it in place. And teams like Fort William and Strathspey might start to get a little bit worried, you'd think, if that comes in. But so the way it has to be a fair pyramid and give every team a shot at finding their natural level. So more positive news, and hopefully they get it all over the line and everything agreed, especially if they've got that kind of confidence it could be done in time for the new season.
Certainly interesting. The Mosley mentioned the Scottish Cup. Obviously, teams will be able to retain their junior membership. It looks like in the West. Do we really think that's a good idea? I mean, it's a really interesting point. My own view, I think, is that it's going to add a lot of extra fixtures to any team's fixture schedule. We know what it's like already with the weather and such like in a normal season. Will the Scottish Cup, the Junior Scottish Cup, still have that kind of value and prestige that it has now that every team's moving? I'm not really sure.
I don't think it will long term, in all honesty. A lot of the teams jumping over in the West are saying they're going to keep their membership and keep their Junior Cup entry this year. I suspect after the first year they might think, oh, we've had a lot of games crammed in there. It might be easier just to keep that up. But yeah, it's not the same competition it used to be, is it?
No, certainly not. No.
It's certainly lost a wee bit of the prestige. I mean, long term, what I'd love to see is that cup being brought in as a non-league cup, especially if we're getting rid of the whole junior-senior barrier and everyone's going to be non-league. It'd be nice to give it a new life. As like the cup itself still prestigious, you know. But I guess we'll just need to wait and see. I think most clubs are wanting to stay in it for the sake of tradition just now, and after a couple of years in the senior setup, they might begin to kind of go away from that. It just depends, I guess.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I've talked about with a lot of the guys and all the chats I've had. I would love to see a sort of non-league Scottish Cup. If it's the Junior Cup and the South Challenge Cup sort of joining as one sort of competition, that would be amazing. It
would definitely have a fair bit of prestige about it that way as well, because you'd have the situation where you've had these kind of newer clubs, your BSCs in the world, East Kilbride, that have started well. You'll have your traditional names like your Talbots, your Kilwinnings. In the East, you've got Bonnyrigg and Lithgow, Bo'ness. All of them in the same cup would be fantastic. And the kind of names that have came down now, the East Stirlingshires and the Berwicks, I think that competition would sell itself, to be honest.
Yeah, probably like days. I think probably if you think of the current Scottish Cup, you find that because some of these teams are no longer in it, that it doesn't have that same excitement. The games aren't as meaningful. Maybe not getting the big gates like you kind of used to get as well. Some teams are playing kind of smaller up north teams and not really bringing much. And I think certainly that idea would be a good way to take the Scottish Cup at some point.
We'll obviously keep everyone posted on any developments, but as it is, it's kind of cautious optimism, I think, is the best way to sum it up.
Yeah, and we did have a viewer question, or a listener question from Matt Reed. Is pineapple acceptable on a pizza, guys?
Never.
Of course, Reedy with a pertinent question coming on. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to be controversial.
Never. Not a chance.
I'm fond of pineapple on a pizza. I've got to say. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm a big Hawaiian man myself. Like, I think that's what they call it. Is it a Hawaiian?
Hawaiian,
I was going to say, is that the first time somebody for Fife has described themselves as a Hawaiian man?
Possibly, quite possibly. Might be the first time for a brag. This is, I guess, the bit where people are probably listening in for. We'll move on to everything that's happened at the start of the weekend. I guess we have to preface this by saying it's obviously personal opinion, like every other podcast. But what a joke, to be honest. You know, I always find that Scottish football, people are actually dying at the moment, and Scottish football, again, shown to be an embarrassment due to severe incompetence. Am I being too severe with that assessment?
I think that's a pretty good assessment. Severe incompetence is a good phrase to describe it.
It's incredible that there's no football being played, but Scottish football can still be the laughingstock of football right now. It just seems absolutely crazy that there's not a ball being kicked and we're still a complete joke to the rest of the world. Yeah,
and there's obviously different layers to this, and I'm sure we'll all have we might have different opinions, but I think the starting point for me is obviously on the clubs receiving money. To me, that was kind of friendship for the whole vote, and I just don't understand why that was even discussed. If there's money available, secure the future of the clubs first. I don't think any of the 42 in the SPFL would have voted against that. If positions can change and whatnot, I mean, it's a case of that could have been amended, you know, going into the next season or the season after. You know, worry about the other stuff later. It's all up in the air anyway. No one has the faintest idea when football can continue. It's crazy. And then obviously you've got other issues with like it coming out that Dundee WhatsApp groups and stuff. I don't really know about the screenshots or whatever were actually true. But you've got the guys like the RAFE chairman. He was basically saying a no vote would condemn Scottish football to losing a number of clubs to bankruptcy. If it was to happen, then Dundee would be in a very difficult position and would be seen as pariahs for years. But Dundee are a member of the SPFL. As far as I'm aware, they voted no, but the vote wasn't received despite it being sent. The Dundee's vote via the group message on Friday, Gardner, the Dundee club secretary, had followed up with a message that their vote was submitted. The SPL say no ballot paper arrived from Dundee, and then it came to light that I had basically that Dundee were going to hold off. And this is where it becomes a bit like a bit of a comedy, really, because all the votes and stuff were, I guess, released to the media. They were waiting on one championship club. Obviously, we know now it's Dundee. Dundee voted no, and whatever reason they held off, and then they came out with a statement yesterday. I noticed it was all well and good, but to be honest, it didn't answer anything for me. We're still not sure of what's actually going on. The vote was just a suggested time on Friday, 5 p.m. So I believe the clubs did have, you know, a few weeks to decide. So it seems to me like a lot of pressure was put on there and now to clubs, and then there's obviously other things that we'll get into. But certainly, it's not a great situation. You got any thoughts on that sort of bit with Dundee? And
it's probably best if I kind of quickly give a wee update, because there's been one or two things happened in the last hour. I've been following Kerridge and Itsan pretty closely. Anyone that hasn't been already, is well worth keeping an eye on his Twitter, because he's right on the ball with it. And BBC Sports Sound yesterday was a brilliant listen, just hearing it all fall apart, basically. But so the latest, just kind of covering off where we are right now. Basically, everyone apart from the Championship has voted in favour of ending the seasons, other than the Premiership, because you need to wait for UEFA on that front. Dundee did fill out a no ballot, and there's pictures there, and they have been confirmed as legitimate of their ballot. But basically, what the SPFL have now said on the Dundee vote, in a quote, is the club attempted to submit a voting slip which did not reach the SPFL until late that evening. Earlier at 6 p.m. on Friday, the club confirmed in writing to the SPFL that any attempted vote from that club should not be considered as cast. So basically, what the SPFL are trying to tell us is an email telling them to not consider it as cast got there before an email telling them that was sent earlier in the day that they voted no. Because if they sent it by post, it wouldn't have arrived later the same day. So it's a mess. Having said that, though, their chairman has come out having a go at Rangers as well. So I should tell you what he said there. Murdoch McLennan, the SPFL chairman, say he's had a go about what he's called quote-unquote significant misinformation in the media. And he said about the allegations from Rangers, again quoting, "I'm entirely satisfied the SPFL and its executives and legal advisors have acted wholly properly." I think the only thing that's going to break this logjam now, considering everything that's happened, is if Rangers release the evidence supposedly that they've got.
Yeah.
And I think they're being quite clever if they do have evidence, not putting it out in the public domain, because that way they could cut the SPFL if they have acted improperly. Neil Doncaster was the one specifically mentioned, could probably come up with an excuse or a reason around it. They want an independent inquiry so this can be put out without them having a chance to beat back at it. But the whole thing's a mess, isn't it? It's an absolute mess. Scottish football's getting laughed at again. And to go back to what you said at the very start, the situation we're in right now, is this really the appropriate thing to be happening? Like mud getting slung everywhere in public. I kind of feel bad for Dundee in this because they've clearly been told not to say anything. And you kind of get the feeling they want to say their piece, but they've been told to shut up. Like they told Sportsound yesterday that nobody would be saying a single thing until something was resolved. So there's clearly dodgy dealings going on in the background. And they're clearly trying to influence Dundee to change their vote, is the way I'm reading this. Because if Dundee vote yes, that's it. It's done. And the money gets distributed and so on. But the most important thing I've heard yesterday was Forfar chairman. They put it out for League One and League Two clubs' point of view going, the money's not that important because it's only a few grand that we are waiting on. What's important for League One and League Two's point of view, the clubs, and he's been misquoted on it, so it's important to clarify it, is they need to plan ahead with what other teams are going to be in the same division as them in the new season. Because for what he was saying, if Partick Thistle get relegated and Falkirk stayed in, we've potentially got an extra 300 grand in the bank. Whereas if Cove and Edinburgh City come up, Falkirk go up and Thistle stay up, then we've got that less, like 300 grand less in the bank for the budget. So clubs just want the certainty to plan ahead. And he's not, like, the idea that's gone out in the media today is he's saying that Falkirk should stay down and Thistle should come down. That's not what he said. All he's saying is, I need to know what the other teams in the league are going to be so then we can budget and we can plan ahead with the squad. Simple as that. And it feels like a lot of clubs are in that boat rather than the kind of lazy, it's all about the money type story that's getting thrown about just now.
Yeah, and it was interesting you mentioned the Forfar chairman because there was other issues, and it was interesting actually. I think he came across quite well.
He did, yeah.
He obviously mentioned the fact that there's going to be a lot of players out of contract. I don't know if Stranraer will be too happy with him because he did obviously mention the fact that Stranraer have no players signed on for next season. So the uncertainty for a lot of clubs is one of the reasons they voted yes. Also, it's not all about the money. Obviously, I think the money was used as my firm belief is it was used as a sweetener, basically. But from my point of view, that should have been a separate issue. I believe that it should have been a separate thing. They should have basically had a vote on the money separately. All the 42 would have voted for it. I don't think there would have been a team that would say, "No, wait, let's not have money." As I mentioned, it's about securing the future of the clubs first. If they had done that, then another vote for basically what's going to happen, then I think everyone would have been. We might have had a different yes and no votes, I think.
Yeah, I find it really strange though. The one thing that's really weird about this whole situation: why release the voting numbers before they knew they had a full quota of votes? That's the first thing I find absolutely staggering about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Why did they not just wait? If they hadn't had Dundee's vote, why not just phone up Dundee? Hello, Dundee. We don't have your vote. What's happening? Simple as that. Job done. We'll send it over now. Job's a good one. But no, let's announce it. And that just has caused this absolute storm of bother for every club pretty much now, because no club knows what's happening. Dundee now obviously hold all the cards, so they can effectively, as you were saying, go and have chats with other teams and potentially bring new proposals and things like that to the table, which would be interesting. I did see somewhere a little suggestion that Dundee want some sort of kind of league reconstruction now that they've got this kind of bargaining power. However, how does a league construction going to work for Dundee? I mean, they're sitting third in the table just now. If you go to a 14, they're not going to be in the top league anyway. So I'm not really sure how that really works for Dundee, but it seems just really strange that the way the SPFL firstly handled it, and then the likes of Rangers and all that coming out saying, "Oh, we've got evidence, but we're not going to tell you what the evidence is until we have an independent review and all this kind of stuff." It just seems really kind of a lot of self-interest. Obviously, there's a lot of that.
Definitely. Aye.
I think probably Rangers are looking at it like, well, we need the dosh, we need it now. I think it was pretty clear that they've got some financial problems they need to sort out. Hearts are probably in the same boat in terms of need some a bit of money. As you say, the teams below, they don't really need the money because it's not that much in terms of their prize money. I mean, the good thing they could see it happen is perhaps the prize money is distributed evenly, but I don't think the likes of Rangers and Celtic and Hearts, etc., would be okay with that. But I mean, if you want to do some good socialism within football, then that's the way to do it, isn't it? You just give everyone the same dough and help clubs survive that way. But a lot of self-interest, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of kind of dirty tactics seem to be coming out now, so which is never good for Scottish football.
Yeah.
The laugh at it is, see what you were just saying there about why they released the voting numbers. So this morning, the SPFL tried to justify why they did it. It was talked about on the radio this morning on BBC Sports Sound, and apparently, I couldn't believe it when I heard this, right? Apparently they did it because the clubs wanted to know, and it wasn't nothing to do with influencing numbers. The only reason they published that was because it showed it was a championship, and it showed that last championship club had all the power to vote yes and get it through. It's simple as that. The only reason those numbers came out early, and any attempt to try and disguise that is laughable. It's blatant. It's unbelievably blatant, and I can't believe they're trying to disguise the fact that it was blatant.
Exactly. It goes back to the point, obviously, of the Rafe chairman and how he basically has kind of outed Dundee as potential pariahs for this whole thing. But there was other clubs that voted no. You know, it shouldn't be all on Dundee, and there's added pressure there, obviously, Derek, for the fact that Dundee apparently voted no, and then all of a sudden they're changed. Well, they've not changed their vote. We don't know what their vote is, but it does completely stink. I don't believe in the whole corruption and bribes and conspiracies, but certainly coercion, bullying, bargaining chips with the money. There might be truth to that.
Aye. Obviously, we need to be very careful what we say at this point, without saying the word allegedly every single sentence. So, just to reaffirm, obviously, these are opinions based on what we've seen, and they may not turn out to be factually correct. But it strikes me as, I think the phrase is it stinks. There's something going on. It's just blatant that something's going on in the background, and they're trying to do deals behind closed doors, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because, well, bear in mind, this is the easy part, supposedly. All they want to do is declare the season finished at this point. We've got to have a chat about league reconstruction after this. I think that's going to be any easier after this carry on. Like, it's so frustrating, and it's Scottish football in a one. It's just, like, obviously from our point of view, again, they've forgotten about the Highland League, the Lowland League, East of Scotland, South of Scotland, junior leagues, all been swept away to one side because it's all about the SPFL. And, oh, by the way, Brecon, we're just going to cancel your relegation. Just kind of turn a blind eye to the fact the Brecon chairman is part of our board. Let's just forget that, you know. It's just, it stinks. The whole thing stinks. And the conventional wisdom going about is they're going to try and get it to be a 14-10-10-10 setup now. So basically, 2 extra teams into the Premiership. It might only be for one season. Still the Championship, League 1, League 2 with 10 teams each, which would basically mean the champions, the Highland and the Lowland, would go up. But you still need to get agreement for that to happen.
Yeah.
And all they're doing now is turning clubs against each other with the way they've ran this whole voting process. So how hard is it going to be to get everyone back on side again to talk about reconstruction? It's a nonsense.
Maybe the deals that are getting done behind closed doors are the likes of maybe Dundee want to make it a 16, and then they get into the top league and it becomes lower numbers obviously down the other leagues. Probably do away with the Championship at some point probably, and you can amalgamate the Championship, League 1 and League 2 into kind of 2 divisions. I feel like maybe that's what Dundee are hoping that will happen for them, because that would make sense if they're now holding back on their vote, because if they had no reason not to vote, vote differently, then I don't know why they're waiting. But it seems like now they're obviously holding up the process, and it seems like perhaps that, I mean, selfishly as a Kilmarnock fan, being my SPL team, I mean, a 16 would be great, because probably you see United come into the 16 and we get our derbies back, but then that would be ideal for me. But I don't know that 16 works for the TV and the Old Firm, etc. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the reconstruction's actually going to look like in the end.
See, that's the strong rumour going about the Dun 16, and they've got all the power,
Well,
to do that.
It's like in politics, isn't it? If you're an independent MP or whatever, then you hold the balance of the house sometimes. So they're that independent now, really, and they're just kind of playing both sides to see who's going to give them the best deal. So,
but the issue being, if they do go to a 16-team league, apparently the TV deal says there has to be 4 Old Firm games in it. Going to a 16, even if you include a split after the home and away side, you're only going to get 3 Old Firm games. So that's the sticking point. 14, you can still get around it by having the split after home and away and having home and away again for 4 fixtures. 16's where it gets more difficult to arrange 4 Old Firm matches. So it might not just be the TV deal at that point either. The smaller side in the Premiership won't as many games against Celtic and Rangers as it can get.
Well, I guess so. For some teams like the likes of Kilmarnock, I mean, you're probably going to get more people coming to a Kilmarnock Air game than you are a Kilmarnock Rangers game.
Yeah,
the first time, and you get Dundee United derbies. You still get obviously Hearts and Hibs derbies if Hearts stay up. So you get all the derby games that you really want to see. But it'll be interesting to see how it actually plays out in the end.
I don't personally believe that the Sky or that are putting much pressure on the SPFL to make a decision, because no one knows, as I kind of touched on a wee bit earlier, no one knows when this is going to be over. So I can't see it. I don't know if it's an excuse or whatnot, but I can't see Sky pressuring teams to or the whole league basically. But you kind of said it, obviously, that Dundee hold all the cards. That should not happen. That shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't know basically about who voted for what and whatnot, because it's a members' organisation. Every member has responsibility for what they voted for. Some said yes, some said no. Now all the power seems to be in Dundee's hands. They're either going to get vilified for it, like we've seen with the Rafe chairman, or they're going to be, heroes for saving other clubs for voting yes. And it is an immense amount of pressure on Dundee, who apparently voted no and now have decided to either change their mind, or there's been something happened, which we've obviously mentioned, stinks a wee bit, but it's crazy. It's actually crazy that Dundee seem to hold all the power, which again shouldn't happen.
But again, this is the SPFL's own doing. They published the numbers. They made it known that Dundee held the sway. So even if there's not been any wrongdoing, like Rangers have alleged, they've done this to themselves.
Yeah.
And they're absolute morons for doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wild, isn't it?
Who gives away their power in terms of negotiation like that? Who does that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And they've clearly tried to put pressure on, and it's come back in their faces. And now they're thinking, oh God, like, how do we get out of this? But Scottish football's a laughing stock now, isn't it? Simple as that.
Could you really blame Dundee, to be honest? If I was in a position with all this power and that, could you really blame Dundee? I mean, there's a lot of, we've mentioned that there's a lot of self-interest and everything about this, but if I was in Dundee's position, I had the power, I wouldn't. I'd be wanting the best sort of deal for Dundee too. So
of course, they've
gave them the power. But one guy we have to really talk about is Inverness Cally Thistle Chief Executive Scott Gardner, who was on the Sports Round, and he's the type of guy that needs to be on the SPFL board.
Yeah, agreed.
Because basically, you know, Inverness Cally are struggling a wee bit with money right now. They voted. I think they believe they voted no. They needed the money, but from what he said about not believing in relegating teams until the league was finished, that was other teams should have less self-interest and think about the whole picture.
Yeah, Inverness basically voted on sporting integrity ahead of kind of self-interest.
Getting the money, yeah.
Exactly. That's it. And I thought he spoke really well when he was on the radio as well. I think him and the chairman of Forfar came out here pretty positively. But that, see, kind of just doubling back to that Dundee point for one last time, see if it does come out that that's what Dundee are trying to bargain for, I actually think they might build a bit of groundswell of support. If it becomes apparent that they're the team that can push through league reconstruction, you can bet your bottom dollar that folk will get behind them and support that, because I think it's mainly the clubs that are wanting to continue with the system as it is. Ask the vast majority of fans would want a 16-team Premier League, and they would want reconstruction below that to go to 3 tiers rather than 4 tiers, with no playing teams 4 times a season.
Yeah.
So it might actually work to Dundee's advantage that way as well.
Yeah, and we've kind of mentioned this is a perfect opportunity for restructure. We kind of hit it a wee bit earlier, so the fact that we don't really know about if the coercion and whatnot, or backhand dealings, all sounds a wee bit gangster basically, but we don't know until Rangers obviously provide the evidence if they have it. And but in terms of restructure, this is a perfect opportunity because people are getting. We've been talking about this for years, mate, since we've done the official catch-up. People are getting a wee bit sick of, even higher up, playing the same teams 4 times a season, and it's a perfect opportunity to actually do something that people want. That's the issue. They've not been listening to the fans or the players or the gaffers. They've just been interested in, again, self-interest. They've just been interested in keeping their own wee bubble. Now it's getting to a point where people are getting a bit sick of it. When every time the SPFL or someone else, you know, one of the organisations makes a daft decision, people come to expect it, and that shouldn't be the case. That it's more no's than yeses, basically, and that's the mentality that has to change for Scottish football.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing with SPFL is it's full of clubs that are going to be interested in themselves, first and foremost. It's kind of been a longer established league, and most of the clubs in, say, League 2 and League 1 don't want to risk the fact they could drop out. So when it comes to, well, kind of our focus in terms of getting automatic relegation promotion from non-league into the leagues, it's not going to change without some drastic overhaul on it. And hopefully this can be the start of that. But the time's coming. It's got to be, because it's unsustainable to keep going this way. Fans are going to turn against it. So we'll see what comes out of the chats about league reconstruction, especially if this vote goes through. If Dundee do eventually say no to it, God knows what happens at that point. I think you can forget your chat about reconstruction at that stage until they work out what the hell's happening. So who knows, mate? Who knows?
Well, that's it, I think, as well. If you do vote no, that suggests perhaps that teams might be affected by, like, financially, and it might be a position where we lose 4, 5, maybe even 6 teams from Scottish football after this, and it's like, well, you're going to have to come up with something new then at that point from a league point of view. So that might be, either way, you might get league reconstruction anyway, because there might be something that will happen to some of these teams that are kind of waiting and relying on money.
And that can't happen though. This is where it goes back to the whole money thing should have been a separate issue. Clubs should have voted that completely separate from the whole idea of ending the season. It's daft. Why let clubs suffer and potentially go out of business when you've got money to be sent, and it's their money, it's the club's money. Like, so it makes no sense to do that. Why let teams potentially go bankrupt if you've got money sitting there as a organisation that has obligations to your members, and you're going to let them go bust? There's no chance that could happen. If it did happen, I think there'd be a bit of an uproar in Scottish football, I think.
A bit. To play devil's advocate, though, the SPFL's case is that by their Articles of Association, they cannot give out the rest of the prize money until the season is declared finished, which is why Rangers have been trying to put forward their proposal saying, well, let's change that. Let's just say we can give the money out, or at least give some of it out until we get it sorted. But for whatever reason, it seems that the SPFL are trying to stop Rangers putting that proposal through by claiming it's got issues that seem pretty insignificant. So it's just a very kind of old blazerish way of looking at things. You've got to see past these issues and say, right, do you know what? Rangers have got a point here. Let's just change the rules to say, right, we can give money as an emergency help at this time. We can keep the chat going about league reconstruction, about what's going to happen, but we're not going to force your hand and tell you to make a decision right away. And the thing is, it couldn't, because Dundee are within their rights now to sit in their hands for another 20-odd days. Like, you get 28 days for a standard resolution. They've tried to force teams to put it through immediately, and it hasn't happened. So, again, it's everything that's gone wrong with us lies in the hands of the SPFL. They've done it to themselves.
Do you think, just on a personal opinion, but do you think, the top of the SPFL, the sort of Neil Doncaster, do you think he should resign over this? I mean, it is a bit of a farce. I know Rangers kind of pushed him and kind of put him in the spotlight, saying that he should be basically, well, I guess, gardening leave, I guess, the old Scottish term, but he's got to take some responsibility. And from what I've heard, when there was questions asked, he kind of, this is obviously going by various statements and what's been put on the media, but he kind of refused to comment at the time, which is never a good sign.
It strikes me as a kind of person he is. It might not surprise you to know that I'm not the biggest fan of Neil Doncaster, but I don't think he's good overall for Scottish football, and the type of person he is and the type of things that he's done in the past and the way he avoids scrutiny, all these kind of things. Whether he deserves to go for this, I don't know, because we need to see evidence. Like, there's no point in saying that he should go based on kind of what's happened, because there's no way of getting rid of him unless the members choose to get rid of him. But if Rangers have concrete evidence that he has gone around coercing and bullying clubs, he's got to go. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, Moz. I think if Rangers have something on Doncaster, just put it out in the public, because at the end of the day, if there's going to be some sort of review into his behaviours, that'll happen anyway if it goes out in the public domain either way. So I think if Rangers do that, they could potentially force that to happen. And it's kind of weird talking about Rangers in almost like a positive light in some respects. I mean, I say as a Kilmarnock fan, you never see Rangers as a club going about the business in the right ways, and it seems like there's, I mean, they're not the bad guys here. I don't think, which is really weird. I mean, I find that really strange. I don't know if that's because there's been a recent change at the top in Rangers, and this kind of interim chairman they've got in place just now, Douglas Park. He maybe goes about his business a bit better than maybe previous people in control at Ibrox, because certainly in the past they've never had much of a positive light shone on them. But it's weird, really. I find talking about Rangers it seems like a positive light.
I think had it been any other team bar Rangers that came out with this, because obviously you'd get that with Hearts and Hibs and Rangers and Celtic, obviously, that people kind of like, oh, it's Rangers putting out a statement again. But I think I think it's interesting, Ben, how people kind of can't disagree with them in this situation.
I mean, anyone who follows me on Twitter and Facebook will know that I am not a fan of either of them, to be quite honest. So for me, talk about Rangers in a perceived positive light is definitely a turn up for the book. So yeah, it's weird being able to say, yeah, Rangers are actually right here, and I think we want to know the answers from what they're saying.
I mean, my only disappointment for their statement was they didn't throw in a random word for the sake of like incompetent.
Commented that. I'm trying to find. I'm just googling the word now. I was trying to remember what it was, but that's what it was.
No, I can't mind. Is it Lewis Cumming, the name of the boy that collates all the club statements?
Yeah.
Even he came out the other day and said, "Is this the first time a Rangers statement has ever united the good of Scottish football?" But not
Probably.
not against them, in their favour. You know, it's bizarre. It's turned everything upside down. That Rangers have actually put out a couple of common sense statements.
Yeah.
Aye. The word staunchness comes to mind.
I keep joking with some friends and family. I just about wee different things that have happened and since lockdown that you can really realise that the whole world has turned on its head. And let's add that to the list of Rangers being positive and seeing a positive light when it comes to releasing statements is a first. Therefore, we know the country's in a bad way when we're agreeing with Rangers.
But in fairness to everything we've said, obviously they need to bring out the evidence. I think we've kind of been critical. I mean, we've had our issues with the SPFL, or concerns rather, in terms of non-league. Obviously, with like Brechin possibly coming down to the lone league if they were to get relegated. Then obviously we don't know what's happening with Kelly or Bora Rangers. So there's other things, especially less to do with non-league. But over the years, the SPFL have not been great at. You know, there's been other issues there. Probably best not talking about them, but there's certainly been for a few years. It's like what I kind of mentioned earlier, guys. No one has faith in the Scottish football organisations, basically, and it needs to change. It really needs to change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we get to that point though, because you would need all the clubs in the SPFL to basically go, aye, we're willing to give away the power that we hold. So it's going to be a really difficult process to make things change. But if not now, then when? You know?
I think to go back in on that one, I think as well, you find that the people that are involved in running Scottish football are kind of old. I think was used the term kind of blazerish, kind of old kind of blazer types that have their own self-interest as well. And I think it maybe needs just some progressive types to come in and really take it by the scruff of the neck and kind of get in. I think we mentioned Scott Gardner, for example, seems like a progressive type that has a bit of kind of thoughts before he does his actions and things like that. So that's what I think it could do with some fresh faces in there that can really kind of liven things up.
Yeah, agreed.
And somebody like Ian Maxwell could help, but then he's going to the SFA now rather than the SPFL. Yep. So it's, again, that's the kind of person we need to facilitate change. But where it is right now, we've got no end in sight for the situation we find ourselves in. Dundee have no intention of saying anything, despite the fact that the timeline doesn't quite add up. I feel like if Dundee break cover and say what has actually happened, chaos will ensue. But that's maybe what we need at this point.
I'd be very suspicious if Dundee were in like the Champions League next season. Let's put it that way.
Is that Euro Cup 2 meant to start next season? The Europa Conference or whatever it is.
Let's end on a positive note. What are some of your favourite sort of moments over the last season, guys?
I think from my own point of view, I mean, I've only got involved with Cohen Rangers since the start of the season, so it's my first season being involved in the junior football, as it were. So it's really been a really eye opener to me about kind of how the kind of non-league junior ranks have been. There's been a lot of great times for me and Cohen already in the first kind of 8-9 months I've been involved, and basically for me that's my highlight of the football season. I mean, I'm a Kilmarnock fan. I've not had the greatest of seasons. We started the season off by getting beat off some Welsh minors in July, which was never ideal, and then we changed the manager, and okay, so nothing positive from that respect, but certainly from me it's been all about a good first season with Cohen and we're top of the table. We've been playing some great football. I think we went unbeaten for about 10 games at the start of the season. It was great to be. Now we just look forward to kind of heading into the pyramid and what that's going to bring to the table as well. So yeah, that would be my highlights of the year for me, for sure.
It's got to be the Scottish Cup run for BSC. I mean, maybe controversial for me, I'd probably choose the East Fife game over the Hibs game because that is, well, obviously we won, but it's genuinely the happiest I have ever been at a football game, and I include being in France when James McFadden scored that goal in that as well, which gives you an idea just how I felt on the day. Because for it's a team that I've been part of for a couple of years now, and just to see the growth and the way the club's developed, and it's good people running it. Finally, to see those rewards come through and a wee bit of kind of recognition of the people behind the whole project, but also being done 3-1 and going into that boardroom at half time, and basically these 5 boys thought they were through. We felt hard done to by the ref and so on, and to launch the comeback out of nowhere and clinch it right at the death with a goal from nowhere as well was just I think everyone got it at some point during that game. Nearly, but it was so good. You can't buy moments like that. We might never get to that stage of the Scottish Cup for a decade now, but we've now got that in the memory bank in history, And obviously the run itself has put us in a really fortunate position financially as a club. So we can potentially now use that to start facilitating our move back home, which is the most important thing we need to do over the next 5-10 years, in my opinion. As soon as we're back in, either in or near Broomhill, back to where we belong, we can properly start growing the club. And that's ultimately what we need to do. But just that night in Methil, One Night in Methil sounds like the title of a dodgy knockoff movie, but it was so good. That's my moment of the season anyway. How about you, Chris?
The question I've got for you, Derek, is: are you still playing that clip on your Twitch?
Of course I am. I've got the Tam Orr clip for Methil, and I've also got the Ross Smith clip, obviously, for the Hibs game. And they will never find a way off my Twitch channel.
Interesting.
It's that the Tartan Army song that you always play when you get a new subscriber or something, is it?
Aye.
And it's like, hello, I sing that with the house all the time, and the wife goes mental. She's like, blame Mozza for that.
For myself, I think obviously my experience would probably be with Kel. A few massive games in the history of the club. Obviously, Hockey League Talbot, being on the TV, actually seeing my face on the TV when I was doing some work, obviously with a laptop, was a bit of a surreal experience.
Apologies for that, folks, again.
Disappointing. Well, I wasn't quite you, Derek. You had your you and whoever it was picture on the bloody BBC website or something like that.
Oh, that's right. Me and Maladin were on the website. I forgot about that.
We had BSC Tammy on. Was that one?
That was it. That was it. Because I started getting texts and was like, "What's going on here?" Oh, bugger.
But yeah, it was disappointing for Kelty on the night, but it was a massive, massive game, and it's hopefully games like that we'll see with maybe a non-league Scottish Cup in the future. Certainly the game against Solihull Moors was fantastic. I think Kelty were very unlucky that day. Pretty much the whole season's been pretty good. I mean, even up till very recently when Kelty played Bonnyrigg, a massive game for both the clubs. Tents had the amount of fans that turned up for a lone league game was fantastic. So yeah, it's been a good season. It's disappointing how it's ended, obviously, but we'll wait and see, and hopefully we'll be back at it soon.
Fingers crossed. I think that goes for all of us.
Yeah, and well, we couldn't have a podcast without doing plugs. I'll let you go first, as always, Derek.
Yeah, let's be fair. Ben's the guest. Ben, plug your Twitter and so on.
So probably the best thing for me to plug is obviously Quinn Rangers. I'm the media man down there, so follow us at Steady the Buffs. I've also got one podcast which is about new music. I think I mentioned this before, Chris.
Yep.
We play a lot of new music, new bands from Scotland, and we've just recently started a thing called the Off Grid Sounds Mixtape, which is basically talking to Scottish people about their favourite music. So follow us there on Twitter, and it's at Off Grid FM. So if you like your new music, come and follow us.
Right, me now.
Yep.
Nice and simple as always. At Moza Plays 2 Z's on Twitter, and you'll find me pretty much anywhere else from there. The podcast itself at Official Catchup. We're on SoundCloud and pretty much every normal major place where you find your podcast. Just search for Official Catchup, Lowland League Catchup. It'll come up. Facebook, Lowland League Catchup, I believe, still the title on there. Chris, is that right?
Yep, I think so.
And we are on Instagram as well, but because Sean's here, I don't know what the Instagram account is.
It's like official.catchup, I think.
I think that sounds about right. We'll go with that.
Obviously, we want to thank our sponsors. Hopefully, I'll get this right. The Soccer Shop Direct, and it's at the Soccer Shop D on Twitter. And you can find myself at Rampant FM, but mostly at Official Catchup, like Moz has mentioned. It's been a great chat. Obviously, a lot of talking points, which there probably shouldn't be at this time. But it is what it is, guys. It's been interesting. I appreciate yourself, Ben, coming on, and obviously Mozza, you're a regular, so I don't have to really thank you for coming on.
I'm just part of the furniture.
But no, it's been great, obviously catching up and getting viewpoints. I think it's going to be an interesting pod for the feedback and whatnot, and yeah, it's personal opinion as we've mentioned, I guess, Derek.
Yeah, absolutely. And just encourage you, if you've had a listen and you do want to have your say, please do contact us on Twitter, and we'll do our best to mention as many opinions as we get back, because obviously it's a mental time in Scottish football, and it kind of needs to be digested by everyone, I think.
Yeah, and the different views and whatnot, and spoke to a lot of people, and there's been different things there. It's one of those things, but it's a game that we love, and we obviously don't want to see anything bad happen to it in terms of clubs or players or gaffers. We obviously I think we all strive to want the best for the game.
Absolutely.
Brilliant, guys. I will catch you later.
See you later.